and authority on Negro spirituals, has devoted his life to telling the world about this unique American musical form. He was featured recently at an ecumenical concert held at Emmanuel Presbyterian Church. Before Dr. Hairstone conducted a combined chorus, the Episcopal Chorale and the YoungNak Korean Presbyterian Church Choir each presented a selection.
This is the second in a series of concerts, celebrations sponsored by the Los Angeles Council of Churches in cooperation with the Council of Korean Churches of Southern California. And it's the beginning of a series of programs designed to build trust and understanding between the various ethnic groups of our community. Right now we're concentrating pretty consistently on the Korean community and the black community, for there are some tensions that are beginning to build in various parts of the community, as is only natural when one larger group kind of moves in and makes room for themselves and settles in, and other people move this way and that, and we're trying to build understanding. The thing about the two communities are that almost 85% of the people, you might say, in both the black and the Korean community are religious Christians mostly, and fairly active in their churches. So we think that that's the place to start. So we're using the churches and the ministers together. We're going to continue this. We call it our bridge building series.
Dr. Hairstone interweaves the story behind each Negro spiritual in and out of the actual music. His first selection was Give Me Jesus.
That's one of the very old, early spirituals that they created as a result of their experience with the missionaries. The missionaries, see, they called us wild. They said we were infidels, we were serving heathen gods, you know, and so forth. And the missionaries tried to get the slave owners to let them come on the plantation and give them some semblance of Christianity. And the slave owners said, no, Because if you give them Christianity, they'll think they're as good as us. Then we're not their brothers at all. We're their owners. And you can't come in there with that type of propaganda. And so if you got to come over there and tell them, if you can come, if you tell them that to serve us, and that they serve our God. If they behave themselves and do everything that we tell them, they'll go to heaven. If they don't, they're just hell-bound, and that's all there is to it. But don't give them any of that brotherhood stuff. And so they told the slaves, they came on and told them, said, now, you came from idol God worshippers, and your God isn't worth a dime over here. If he'd been any good, he wouldn't have permitted us to come over there and capture you. Can't you understand that? So now you're here, you have to serve our God, and you pray to our God that he makes you obedient and docile. And that's the way you must live over here and do what we tell you and so forth. So now the older ones who believed that, who wanted to join the white people, who wanted to get along with them, you will find that they were the older ones. They tried to create, when they began to create songs that will make us think about this Jesus, you know. And then they sing, in the morning when I rise, give me Jesus. Just about the break of day, give me Jesus. And the chorus says, give me Jesus, give me Jesus. You may have all this world, but just give me Jesus. Wonderful Counselor is a Christmas song. There were very few, as I've been able to find, very few Christmas or Easter songs. Now, I don't know, I haven't been able to find a reason for that. There are other types, work songs and sad songs, and many of them, but hundreds of them. But of the seasons, I found very few. I just imagine that in many of the plantations, the slaves had to work just as hard on the 25th of December as they did on the 24th. So what was there to brag about or thing, you know? Many of them had to work right through all, and Easter the same way. But the ones who created this particular song, Easter song, Christmas song, maybe his master gave them Christmas Day off, you know, and in their imagination they listened. Now this came about by their listening to the missionaries read the story of Christmas, and he was clever enough to come up with that exact story. And he says, "Tell me, who do you call the wonderful counselor?" And the choir is strictly in African. What we call call and response. The leader says something, and then the tribe says something. They still do that. Tell me, who do you call the wonderful counselor? Jesus, the wonderful counselor. Oh, glory, hallelujah. Oh, glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. To the Lord. When we came over here to this country, we had a lot of trouble manipulating the article the, that, this. And we couldn't say it. And the reason the masters thought they were stupid, because they couldn't imitate him. He said, put the book on the table. And she tried to imitate him, or he put the book on the table. They couldn't say the. It wasn't because they were stupid. He said that because they're stupid. It was because they had never heard that sound in any of their languages in West Africa. I went to West Africa, and I haven't found a tribe yet that could say the, because they hadn't heard it, and you see. And so they said the. And this song says The angels rolled the stone away, using the DE for both, just as we use THE for the angels rolled the stone away. The slave says, the angels rolled the stone away. Amos and Andy would say, the black said, the angels rolled the stone away to make people laugh at them. But they didn't say that. They said, oh, the angels rolled the stone away. Oh, the angels rolled the stone away. 'Twas on that Easter Sunday morning that the angels rolled the stone away. Strictly African. Then he said, now this, he got this first verse right on. Sister Mary, she came running just about the break of day. She was bringing news from heaven that the angels, you see that? You couldn't say that the angels, in English you couldn't say it, not fast enough to beat the song. That the angels rolled is stupid. That the angels is good. That the angels rolled the stone away, and so forth. Sing the all. Then he says in the second verse, and says, Jesus said, touch me not, Mary, but go on ahead of me. Go and tell all my disciples to meet me in Galilee. See how well he got that story from his master? He remembered it, put it in dialect, and it's one of the classic songs of today. Let's go now. Good Lordy, have mercy. Sing it loud. Sing it over. To the black man, music as an art form was and still is rhythm. To your ancestors in Europe, music as an art form is and was melody. You see? And so to the black man, if a song doesn't have a certain motion to it, it's not good music. I wrote Amen years and years ago, and it tells just what it says. Amen. I agree. That's my theme song all around the earth.